First of all, what did you make of Barry Hearn's claims that the winner of Fury vs Wilder will fight Anthony Joshua on April 13th at Wembley Stadium?
Well, that's what he's. That's
Do you think he'll stick to his word?
No.
You don't think he'll stick to his word? Why not?
Because he won't want to risk his cash cow. You know, he then came in with a proviso subject to terms and that, where I kept saying it's a 50-50 fight. The bottom line of it is they don't want to risk him at all. Otherwise he'd have fought Deontay Wilder last Saturday. They talked about that, and I said all along they'll fight Povetkin. And I'm telling you now, their plan is for him to fight Deontay Wilder. You know, Barry did an interview quite a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, Tyson, that their preference is he doesn't care whether he fights Wilder in 2 years or in 10 years. They've got a business plan, and he said it on air, on the radio interview, over 7 years, and that tells you all they're going to be looking for is to keep that cash cow going.
So you don't think the winner of December the 1st, Fury Wilder, will fight Anthony Joshua next April?
I would like it to happen. I mean, we've just made it. Look at that fight. We just made that. We made it happen. Our fighters, we made that happen. They can make that fight happen. It takes two to tango. If they want it, it's there to be done.
Frank, I just want to get your thoughts on why you think it would have to be a 50-50 split if it was Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua.
Because Tyson Fury is the lineal champion, and Deontay Wilder is the WBC champion, 40-0. Let me ask you this question. Are you worried about how much either boxer gets?
No, I want to see the fight.
How much money do fighters want? Why should somebody get more than the other in that fight? It's the three best heavyweights out there. Two of them are fighting each other. Winner fights. That's what it should be about. That's what it should be about. Nothing else should matter. 50-50 deal down the middle. And that's the end of it. Whoever wins the fight out of Tyson and Deontay.
Do you think it's all about controlling it, making more money, and being
there's two ways not to make fights. One is to say I don't want to fight that guy, and the other one to say the money. We can't agree to money, and that's how fights don't happen.
Yeah,
and that's it. And they come out with all that bullshit about Deontay Wilder last time. About the offer wasn't made. It wasn't a genuine offer. I think everybody believes now that a $50 million offer plus a $30 million return was made to them. Everybody now knows that's the case. Now they're coming out with more bullshit. But anyway, do you know what I'm sick of talking about? I'm going to tell you now, all I care about is we put the fight on that matters. Whether the winner fights Joshua or not, who cares? The best heavyweight fight to be made for a long, long time against two winning heavyweights, that's on the 1st of December. That's all that matters. I'm very happy.
Eddie Hearn claims that the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight has been made off the back of Anthony Joshua's name. For Frank, your comments on that?
All I would say is, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Tyson Fury the undefeated world heavyweight champion? Nobody knew who he was. Wasn't he the fellow who went and beat the man 18 months, took him to school 18 months before Anthony Joshua beat the guy who was 18 months older? And had been put on the floor? Wasn't that him? That fight was made because they're two fighting men. They didn't want to, for want of a better phrase, keep going on with all the bullshit that's spouted out by Joshua's promoter. All he keeps doing is telling everybody how they should be running their business, who they should be fighting, who they shouldn't be fighting. We told you all along that he would not be fighting Wilder. It never happened. They're talking about fighting Wilder now, providing Wilder wins or loses, I don't know what it is. They're talking about fighting Wilder in April. We all know that's not going to happen because he's going to be fighting Dillian Whyte, another guy that he's beat. Let them worry about their crap. All we worry about is our fight. Our fight is a real fight between two undefeated champions, the WBC champion and the lineal world champion, the guy who beat the guy. That's what it is. It's the most important fight. Even a trade magazine says that, Boxing News, it's the most important heavyweight fight out there. And we've made it. And the others are in our wake. They're in this slipstream.
I know you'd like to make it happen, Fury versus Anthony Joshua, if Tyson Fury can win in December the 1st, but what are the chances of that fight happening, if not April, at some time in 2019?
It won't happen in April, will it? It's just not going to happen. They don't want anyone near him. And that's where we're at. I just told you he's fighting Dillian Whyte. That's what they're going to do.
You 100% expect Anthony Joshua to be in the ring with
Did
Dillian
I not
Whyte?
tell you he was going to be fighting?
You did mention he'd be
Povetkin?
fighting
I didn't mention.
Povetkin,
I told everybody on. That's what they were doing, and that was months and months before. And the same thing will happen with Dillian
I
Whyte.
know you bought Tyson back last year. You bought him into your stable. What's the plans? I mean, everybody wants to know if you can get past Deontay Wilder. Can that big clash with Anthony Joshua this year happen?
Tyson Fury, you know what he's like. He just wants big fights. So it's not a problem at our end trying to make that fight. They're fights that he wants to happen. So my job is to try and help and ensure they do happen. And no one should stand in the way of that. There's 3 heavyweights out there. 2 of them have already fought once. Hopefully they're going to get this rematch sorted out very quickly. They're stepping up to the plate. So let's hope that Anthony Joshua does the same thing.
Frank, why didn't the rematch with Deontay Wilder get made in the end?
Because at the end of the day, this offer was made by ESPN, and it gave Tyson a big platform, and he's obviously getting very well paid for it, but it gave him a big platform and helps us in the negotiations to make the bigger fights. We've got a say at the table. We're working with the biggest sporting network in the States.
Listen to Eddie Hearn's interviews. He claims that the fights with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder will happen. Last time I spoke to Eddie Hearn, I asked him why he thought Tyson Fury wasn't entitled to a 50-50 split. His reasons were he's not on the same level as Anthony Joshua commercially, and he doesn't hold any belts. Frank, your comments on your thoughts on those comments?
He's the lineal champion, and commercially I think he's on a much higher level. If you look at now what the deal he's done with ESPN, plus the facts he's going, let's see how many people watch his next fight in the States against Gerald Miller, what the viewing figures are for that, and for a non-title fight, what Tyson Fury's viewing figures are. And then we'll see who's the bigger attraction.
In a dream world, do you see Fury against Joshua next year, maybe Wembley Stadium?
I hope so. In the dream world, we'll see all the fights. I want to see Tyson get back the titles. He's never lost in the ring. He's the lineal champion. He's never lost his titles.
When you look back on the first fight between Wilder and Fury, did you see enough to make you think that Tyson is more than capable of not only beating Deontay on points, but also knocking Deontay Wilder out?
Well, he did beat him. He was robbed. And what did I see of the fight? Well, that fight, Tyson, by the time he had that fight in the space of, 6 months, his first fight, when he had them two, I think it might not even been 6 months.
He came back in.
Yeah, so 6 months. He lost 11 stone in that short period of time. So he was training to make the weight. Now he has been on, in a good weight and physically really good and mentally for the last, since he fought Deontay Wilder, which was a year ago. So he's been in a good place, and he now will be training for a fight rather than training to lose the weight. And what did I see in the fight? Can Deontay change his style? I don't think he can. I think his style is what it is. One thing he is the most dangerous and biggest punching heavyweight in the last 25 years. You've got to be on your game every second of every round. We see him even recently against Ortiz.
Yeah.
He was behind, but when he puts the shots together, he can end fights. Well, he did that with Tyson. Tyson got up, and by the end of the round, Tyson was back on top of him and
almost took him out.
He did, and so I think this time round you're going to see Tyson much better than he was in the first fight.
Anthony Joshua yesterday on Sky Sports claimed that he's more than happy to go and spar with Tyson Fury, and he also reckons that a fight with Tyson Fury is a lot more easier to be made than the one with Deontay Wilder. Frank, what's got to happen for Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua to happen? Because for me personally, it's the biggest fight in the heavyweight division.
Well, first of all, what's he want to be sparring for? They want to see the fight. We've been trying to make that fight last year. Who wants to sparring behind closed doors? That's not what the public want to see. It's all bullshit. That's not going to happen. And as for the fight, we tried to make the fight. As it is now, Tyson is obligated to fight an undefeated heavyweight. The guy, biggest puncher out there, he's got a rematch for him. So the two best heavyweights in the world are fighting each other. That's what's happening, and hopefully by the end of the year, next year, or sometime in the autumn, maybe we can get that on. It's not a problem at our end. We tried to make it, as you know, on many occasions. We went out there and made it very public. It's very easy to make the fight. It was a 50-50 split, but they didn't want to do that.
Just get your thoughts on his performance against Andy Ruiz Jr.
He done everything that he had to do. He came in lighter than he's come in for a long time. He fought on the back foot. He fought a very safety first fight, and it was mission accomplished. He got his belts back. Ruiz was a disgrace, fat, overweight. I mean, he's not like he's a well-conditioned fighter anyway.
Did you say it was disrespectful to, former world champs of the past the way he come in?
It's disrespectful to himself and to the fans, and people. Some people may have bought tickets to see a guy who showed more respect for the heavyweight title. He won the title and won it in good style. Took it at 5 weeks' notice, and you expect him to have 3 or 4 months' notice to train for a fight. He'd come in at least no heavier than he did last time round, but he came and on his own admission, he was eating and boozing and skipping training. So, he made Anthony Joshua's job even easier for him.
Frank, first of all, many congratulations on what was a successful and a fantastic night a few weeks ago in Las Vegas. Tyson Fury becoming the new heavyweight champion of the world. According to Eddie Hearn, there's been positive talks with Bob Arum in terms of making the Anthony Joshua fight. Frank, your comments on that?
Well, Bob Arum and I did a press call last night with the press, and as Bob said, there's been no conversations have taken place, nor can they take place unless all interested parties sit round the table together. What he's saying, Eddie Hearn, is untrue. Untrue, lie, whatever you want to call it, but it just didn't happen. And Bob made that very clear last night, and they can't have these conversations without all the parties concerned sitting around the table. It's not going to, this agenda's not being driven by anybody, it's going to be all interested parties sitting down and making, with a common aim to make it happen. But before it happens, they've got contractual obligations, which I think I've been pointing out now for the last 3 months or so. That AJ's got a mandatory against Pulev, and he's got another one after that against Usyk if he comes through that. And obviously there was the rematch clause that has been invoked by Deontay Wilder. That's how it's been. That's been the truth of the matter. Do we want the fight? Of course we want to fight. Do we want to make it happen? Yes, we do want it to make it happen. But it's going to be something that's going to be done collectively. AJ's management, Freddie Cunningham and AJ, I'm sure they know what they want, the same as with Tyson. And at the end of the day, it's the two fighters who will decide what's going to be the position. But that's only going to happen when everybody sits at the table. There have been no discussions. As Bob said yesterday, it's just total rubbish.